Fearne Cotton says she would hide in the bathroom when presenting Radio 1 due to having crippling anxiety. The 42-year-old has opened up about her time fronting the show, which she did for a year in 2008. She then moved on to present her own weekday show for 6 years until 2015. The broadcaster was once one of the biggest names presenting for the famous station, often working with musicians in BBC's Live Lounge and fronting Top of the Pops at Christmas and New Year. However, she has admitted that she had a hard time at Radio 1 as she would sneak off to the loo in between songs to overcome panic attacks. Fearne said she would suffer from anxiety when she would present her program. She said that being on live TV or radio would trigger her attacks. Speaking to the Shift podcast, Fearne talked about her mental health at the time. She said, "I wish it had been different in a way back then, because I had such an excruciating time when I was on Radio 1. I didn't feel I could tell anyone because we didn't know that was a possibility back then, that you could say, look, I am really struggling here and I don't know what to do. And there's still a long way to go, but I'm so glad that there is at least a crack in the door. I'm so glad that the tides have changed. But back then, I massively struggled in that situation of feeling so incapable of doing my job and talking publicly to millions of people every day while slowly corroding inside. Sometimes I'd sort of get up and go to the toilet while songs were on and just sort of sit there, but I certainly wouldn't tell anyone why or what was going on." Fearne left Radio 1 in 2015 when she announced she was expecting her second child. She then came back to BBC Radio 2 in 2016, but left 5 years later to focus on her mental health. She is now the host of Sounds of the 90s on BBC Radio 2, which airs on Saturday nights from 10 p.m. midnight. Fearne explained that she started to get panic attacks when she returned to work. She added, "As I started to get back into work, literally out of the blue, I started getting panic attacks, which I've wondered if it was me coming out of a period of depression and a stark wake up to all of this stuff, because it felt a very harsh switch. The panic attacks in my early 30s were thick and fast, and I was being triggered if I went too fast in a vehicle, or certainly if I was on live TV or radio. And I persevered for a bit on live radio. I was covering for Zoe Ball for maybe a year, but then it got to the point where I was fine on air, but I couldn't sleep at night. I was having panic attacks for hours, all night long. It was horrendous."